수정, 불어.
People love Korean dramas.
이거 좀 협조 좀.
뭐 어쩌라는 거지?
아니 지금 뭐 하는 겁니까?
Of course, Koreans love Korean dramas.
멋지다, 현진아.
Korean didn't like them before at one time. Stimulating developments,
예나 선정이 딸이에요.
unrealistic directing, excessive advertising. These are Korean dramas from just over a decade ago. What happened in the meantime? To understand why Korean dramas are so successful, you need to look at the history of Korean show business. If you're a fan of Korean dramas, this video is for you. I'll give you a quick overview of how the Korean drama market has evolved since the 1990s, focusing on some of the major titles.
어디서 주장께 끼어들길?
And if you're negative about Korean dramas, you'll get to learn a lot of interesting facts. Dramas are a commercial product after all, and you'll understand why the Korean market has made it so.
내가 바로 앞에 의지가 되어 있어. 그게 소리냐고.
In 1998, the South Korean government lifted its policy of restricting the import of Japanese pop culture. Pokemon was more than half of life for kids in South Korea at the time. Even grown-ups were hooked on comic books like Dragon Ball and Slam Dunk. Movie theater screens were dominated by Hong Kong martial arts films starring Jackie Chan and Jet Li. Many people were worried that South Korea's pop culture industry would die. At the time, the Korean cultural industry was weak in all areas. Movies, comics, games, and music, except for one: TV series. In Korea, people refer to all fictional TV series as dramas, whatever the genre. In this video, I'll use the same term for dramas. The supply of dramas was monopolized by broadcasting stations. Until 1991, there were only 2 national stations in South Korea, both of which were owned by the state. Furthermore, the drama was different in character from the comics and movies. Koreans care a lot about group values. Drama is a bit different from movies and music because there's always something to talk about. Hanging on the cliffhanger of the episode's final scene, viewers head off to work and school the next day. The average Korean cannot stand the situation where everyone else is talking about the same drama except them. In the 1990s, there was a national drama that recorded over 50% in viewership ratings almost every year.
허준 시간에는 밖에 안 나가요.
Among them, this drama in particular created a kind of social phenomenon.
이렇게 하면 널 가질 수 있을 거라고 생각을 했어. 넌 내 여자니까.
In that time, Korea's economic growth was built on overtime and drinking. On the days when dramas were aired, companies banned overtime and company dinners, and there were no people on the streets at night. The Korean drama industry had a strong domestic market, which helped it to grow steadily. It was like fans created by state system and society. In 1991, the South Korean government obliged stations to broadcast a certain percentage of outsourced content. And the first commercial nationwide TV station was launched. The new challenger aggressively adopted outsourced content to compete with the legacy players. This drama is the result.
나 떨고 있냐?
In 1997, Korea was facing an economic crisis. This was not bad for the TV drama industry. People found relief in watching dramas and held on. Korean drama had grown steadily in a stable domestic market with moderate competition. And in 2003, the first work that can be called The Origin of the Korean Wave came out. This drama became a huge hit in Japan. This historical drama was released in 2004. It spread beyond China to Taiwan, India, Turkey, and Iran. Some people view this two show as the first K-drama, but I don't think so. Because these works were not targeted at overseas markets at the planning stage. Their popularity in overseas markets was not intended at all. Anyway, the drama industry realized that Korean dramas are competitive. Since then, have Korean drama been on right track? I wish they had, but sadly, they have not. Dark times came. Did the creators of this blockbuster end up rolling in the money? Despite their explosive popularity overseas, they did not receive proper financial rewards. This is because the broadcasting stations held the rights to their works. The same goes for dramas produced through outsourcing. Typically, the outsourcing production system in Korea works as follows. First, a talented producer from a broadcasting station leaves to establish a small production company. The company's head brings an initial proposal to the station. Second, the production company works closely with the broadcasting station to refine the plan. Directors and staff are usually hired from the station's pool of employees. Third, after signing a formal contract, production begins. While funding varies, the broadcasting station usually provides over 70%, with the rest covered by the production company through external sponsorships.
The broadcasting stations not only control the production but also finance it, so naturally they own the copyright.
However, as Korean dramas began thriving in overseas markets, producers realized the importance of copyright ownership.
The problem was always about money. To get a copyright, production company had to pay at least half of the production cost themselves.
As you may know, Korean industries are good at learning from global leaders. Who doesn't? When it comes to dramas, the world's leading country is the United States, and the Korean drama industry has been heavily influenced by it. In the US, drama production revolves around the showrunner. Showrunners finance their projects through a combination of broadcast fees, investment loans, and pre-sales to overseas markets, and secure copyright ownership in the process.
In contrast, Korean production lacked the infrastructure to attract investment or pre-sell their content overseas.
At that time, the main export market for Korean dramas was China. However, China's strict pre-approval censorship often delayed releases by months. This left Korean producers with only one viable option: indirect advertising, known as product placement.
The influence of US drama wasn't limited to production company. It extended to viewers as well.
By the mid-2000s, American dramas began to spread into Korea through the internet. At the same time, Korea's cable channels were expanding rapidly. Lacking the capacity to produce their content, newcomers secured the rights to air American dramas.
For the first time, Korean broadcasting station and production company faced fierce competition.
Their solution was to make their dramas even more provocative.
임신했어.
나 무정자증이야.
This drama was packed with sensational elements: infidelity, amnesia, betrayal, hidden birth secrets, terminal illnesses, sexual violence, inheritance feuds, false accusations. Korean call such shows makjang dramas. The term makjang refers to a dead-end road.
Including myself, many Koreans suffered these stimulating drugs but couldn't kick the habit.
Fortunately, it wasn't a time of doom, but rather a time of growing pain in historical terms.
유아독존.
In 2013, the Korean drama industry saw its biggest hit in history. The drama hit over 4 billion views in China and generated more than $100 million in revenue. This drama was not originally intended to target China. Korean producers received only $450,000 for the broadcasting rights sold to Chinese online video platforms.
Still, this success helped Korean drama industry establish a formula for succeeding in China.
It's a combination of topic material, storyline, and stars that Chinese like.
살릴 수 있습니까?
살릴 수 있어요.
그럼 살려요.
This drama was produced in 2016. This was different than ever before. This product was made specifically targeting the Chinese market. Producers cast stars popular in China and set the storyline against a military backdrop, a theme favored by Chinese.
이건 잊어요.
To bypass China's strict censorship for traditional broadcasters, the drama aired on online streaming platforms, earning $3 million in broadcasting rights. Critics of Korean dramas often argue that they showcase overly attractive actors, unnecessary romantic plots, and predictable storylines.
But there was a reason that drama style sold well in overseas market.
But the biggest obstacle to export business is unexpected political and diplomatic misfortune. In 2017, the US forces in South Korea installed a missile defense system in response to North Korean threats. But this defense system also can block Chinese attacks. China strongly protested. In return, China restricted the screening of Korean content in the country and blocked the activities of Korean entertainers. Around the same time, Japan saw the rise of a strong conservative government, fueling anti-Korean sentiment to unprecedented levels. A silver lining finally appeared in the Korean drama industry, but it was soon covered by dark clouds again. Another path opened up from the dead end. The name of that path was Netflix.
Netflix in 2017 wasn't like it is now. They were very aggressive in expanding their market. They weren't as picky or as strict as China.
Netflix paid this drama's producers $20 million upfront for broadcasting rights, even though it wasn't for exclusive streaming. The total production cost was $43 million, setting a new record for the highest production budget in Korean drama history. Netflix wasn't just a platform, it was the largest market the Korean drama industry had ever met and most generous investment partner.
As mentioned earlier, while the domestic market for Korean drama was stable, it had clearly limited due to its small size.
Overseas sales of dramas typically occurred after production was complete. Producers and staff were used to working with tight budgets to satisfy the demanding tastes of Korean audiences.
In that context, Netflix support felt like a blessing.
Netflix offered far larger budgets and much better production conditions compared to traditional broadcasters. The standard production process for Korean dramas was extremely demanding. Writers would create scripts for the next episode each week based on viewer reactions and feedback. Completed scripts were delivered to actors and staff right before shooting began. Producing felt like a live broadcast, with everyone constantly racing against time. In contrast, Netflix originals adhere to a 100% pre-production model, with all episodes completed and released at once. For Netflix, Korean dramas were a golden opportunity to acquire high-quality content with relatively low investment. For instance, the total budget for Squid Game was cheaper than a single episode of Stranger Things Season 4.
As you saw in this video, a good opportunity can lead to misfortune, and an obstacle can turn out to be a blessing.
Will Netflix become a savior for the Korean drama industry? No one can say for sure. Some people are already worried about the industry. The fees for top actors and skilled staff have risen, and overall production costs for dramas have gone up. This has made it even harder for small production companies to make dramas. Polarization in the drama industry is worsening. Some criticize that while the Korean drama industry is becoming distorted, Netflix is reaping most of the benefits. For Netflix original series, all intellectual property rights belong to Netflix. Some worry that the entire Korean drama industry will become a giant subcontractor for Netflix.
If you like this video and subscribe my channel, I talk a little more deeply about this story in the next video. Thanks for watching.